Hello, people! True Celebrity Stories here. And today we will be talking about a legendary musician, the acclaimed queen of hip hop soul, Mary J. Blige. In many instances, life shows us that maybe we cannot have it all. Talk about a great woman who had her song dominating the airwaves and becoming a solid part of the childhood of most of us. Even with all the resources at her disposal, this same woman had been so unlucky with love. Just in case you're wondering who this person is, all you need to do is glance at the title of this video. We are talking about no other person than Mary J. Blige. From battling through a tough childhood, living with an alcohol-dependent mother and an abusive veteran father, and then to her issues with substance abuse, coupled with a host of complicated romances, this delectable queen has been through it all. Love can be really cruel, and it fails to happen to those who deserve it on many occasions. It is a wonder how Mary J. Blige has been able to power through it all, standing firm and releasing good music, especially when she is not battling with one thing or the other. She even has stunts in acting where she has been able to get some Emmy nominations under the belt. Through this video, we will take you through the different highlights of Mary J. Blige's life and how unlucky she has been with love. And then, after all, still find the strength to continue through it all. Let's get started, shall we? Childhood. As mentioned earlier, Mary J. Blige was born in 1971, and she admits to having a pretty rough childhood. From growing under the influences of an alcohol-dependent mother to seeing her veteran father, although a jazz enthusiast, battled with PTSD and would always beat her mother whenever he was around, even though he only did show up a few times. As this was not enough, Mary's family moved to an unfriendly neighborhood, and her mother was also not around a lot of times. During this time, she was molested by a family member just at the age of 5. Via the New York Daily News, Mary J. Blige recalls feeling so ashamed that she could not believe her eyes that someone she trusted so much could constantly be doing this to her. One does not readily shake off this experience, not to talk of a 5-year-old girl. Mary admitted this experience had a lot of bearing on her teenage years, as she subsequently made lots of poor choices as a teenager. She reveals that despite her mother's struggles, she raised her with a lot of respect. As expected, Blige had her fair share of the educational system. However, she would later drop out entirely to be on the streets. Saved by the music, and then her first toxic relationship. If you grew up under such circumstances, you would have to look up to something for respite too. And the world is grateful Mary J. Blige turned to music. Whenever she woke up, she started singing, and before she slept, she sang. She would flex her voice and sing whenever she wanted. All of these finally paid off when she got signed and subsequently released her first album titled What's the 411 with production credits from the legendary Sean Diddy Combs. It was, however, during this period she started dating the Jodeci singer Casey Haley. The relationship was all high profile at that time, and they projected the image of a happy couple to the tabloids, but all was not well behind the scenes. She was young and reckless while with KC, who was an industry sweetheart at that point. Blige would later reveal that she was in an abusive relationship with KC and that there were incidences of violence in the relationship. In a 2002 interview with The Guardian, she revealed that she was in a problematic relationship, and when you hate yourself, you tend to draw those who hate you to yourself. She never mentioned anyone, but everyone seemed to know who she was subtly referring to. In her words, I kept getting the same lesson over and over, and finally, I knew there was something I had to learn. She continued by saying she had to endure lots of violence and physically fight for her life. Referencing her mother, as she said, just like her mom, she fought a lot. Blige knew she had to leave when, almost at her breaking point, she was nearly murdered, saying weapons were involved. Hence, it was puzzling to discover that she recorded one of her biggest albums while enduring abuse. Despite all her experiences, she stayed with Casey with no way out, as is typical with most victims of domestic violence. She recounted her experiences by saying, "It became very dark, the whole thing, and it was abusive. There was a lot of manipulation, but I was still there." Recording her My Life album while enduring abuse. The fans of Blige would agree that most of her songs are relatable, as she mainly sang about her experiences and current realities. It was easy to agree that Blige's experience while dating KC was a big part of her hit album My Life. Despite the success of this album, catapulting her from a random R&B one-hit wonder to a global superstar, she was not able to take it all in. She said she could not even enjoy what was going on. She was not enjoying her success. So much for all the glitz and glamour. She claimed at the time she was in a relationship with someone like herself who was also young and successful, and neither of them could handle the sudden success and the spotlight that was suddenly shown on them. Casey, in his defense, would also admit they were young and in love, and that he felt pressured by her so much that he decided just to hand her a ring and to propose to her. Said he did this to get her off his back, and that there was never a point they discussed starting a family together. He believed they were young and were enjoying the time. Blige's relationship with Kendu Isaacs. After being with Casey for about 12 years, yep, you heard that right, 12 whole years, Blige was not going to move on from that relationship unscathed. She was a wreck, and she was mean to a lot of people around her. She admitted to moving from smoking substances to sniffing them at this point, and she went a tad further to reveal that when she was doing these hard substances, she made sure everyone around her who wanted a puff or a sniff got some. She was really at a low point, and she was spiraling out of control. She was mean to virtually everyone at this point. Journalists, the paparazzi felt her wrath. Her career was suffering, and we now know this was because she was having such a tough time coming to terms with an end of a long-time relationship, an abusive one at that. She also revealed that she was battling with some of her family members whom she tagged as hateful, proud, jealous, and did not care about her in any way. At this low point, she met Kendu Isaacs, who was working with Queen Latifah. Queen contacted her management for a song, and when they met up in a studio, she recalled seeing Isaacs as a handsome man. Although she paid little mind to it at that time, she thought Isaacs and Queen Latifah were together. However, she admitted she was really at a shallow point in her life. Blige recalls lodging into a hotel in Florida, and she could feel herself slipping away when Isaac's call came in. This call would be the start of a romantic relationship, as she revealed that Kay Isaacs made her feel wanted, saying that it was for the first time in a long time she felt someone cared about her. She later found out the feeling was mutual when, through Latifah, they could exchange contacts and kicked it off. She admitted to being mean to him a lot of times, and she believed their romance was too good to be true. But who can blame her? All those years of abuse do something to your psyche. However, she was also credited with referring to Kendu Isaacs as her knight in shining armor, as she later grew to trust him and allow him in. They got married in 2003, and she became a fantastic stepmom to Candu's children from a past relationship. Hollywood was shocked in 2016 when the news of Blige filing for divorce from Candu Isaacs filtered in, with everyone wondering what could be wrong. A claim he serially denied, but he filed a countersuit requesting $130,000 in spousal support. Blige would later reveal that she was disrespected in the relationship, and Candu Isaacs cheated a lot and used about $400,000 of her money to tend to his proteges and mistress. Isaacs claimed to be used to the expensive lifestyle, and he did not know how to get the money to sustain his lifestyle. However, the court granted him temporary support of $30,000 to the relief of Blige. Their divorce was later finalized in 2018, although the details were kept under wraps. Blige's life after her complicated romances. Despite how unlucky Blige has been with love, she still cuts a figure of strength and survival amidst all odds. She has continued to release great music and also go on tours across the world. She is grateful that her songs have been able to pull many out of difficult moments. Most recently, a documentary of Blige's life premiered on Amazon Prime. She claims that in celebrating the 25th anniversary of My Life, an album that defined her career, she wanted everyone to know where that came from. She wanted her fans who have stayed and supported her through all the years to have a glimpse of the inspiration behind most of her songs. Blige is in a better place now and says she's still open to dating, but she would only get together with a wealthier man. She says she's tired of caring for men and she's learning to put herself first. She also has a foundation where she talks about wanting women to learn from her experiences. For more stories like this, remember to turn on post notifications. It would only take a moment. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.